Chosen one, nothing about this moment is accidental. The simple truth that your eyes are moving across these lines right now, that your chest feels slightly heavier or warmer, that something subtle is awakening inside you is not coincidence. This is sacred alignment in motion. The unseen has been arranging this instant with precision, weaving together timelines, pauses, delays, and breaths so that you would arrive exactly here, exactly now. At this meeting point between the visible and the eternal, consecrated soul, you are standing at the edge of a threshold that carries uncommon weight. What has been stirring inside you lately? That quiet unease, that holy tension, that feeling that your life is leaning toward a sudden turn is not imagination. The spiritual climate surrounding you is dense with expectancy. Movements have already begun beyond what your eyes can register. Messengers have been released. Pathways once locked tight are slowly loosening their hinges. What you have been pleading for in silence is nearer than your thoughts, will allow you to believe. Your inner being understands what your logic has not yet decoded. Like an inner compass refusing to lose its direction, something within you is certain that the long pause is reaching its conclusion. Time itself is bending toward your appointed unveiling. This is not fantasy or self-deception. Chosen one, this is a pronouncement being spoken over your life in this very season. Do you sense it? That vibration rising inside you is not panic. It is not dread. It is expectancy. It is your spirit recognizing the nearness of divine movement drawing close to your circumstances. Something is about to shift in ways that will remove all ambiguity. For you and for those observing from a distance, that the divine is present and unwaveringly faithful. Chosen one, your life is being prepared to serve as unmistakable confirmation. But not the kind that debates or demands attention, not the type that needs stages or microphones to prove itself. No, you are being shaped into something quieter and far more potent. You are becoming evidence that breathes, that stands, that alters environments simply by existing. I remember a night when silence felt louder than sound. 4 years ago, I was alone in a nearly empty apartment, my eyes fixed on an eviction notice resting on the table like a verdict. My marriage had dissolved half a year before. A career I had devoted 15 years to had disintegrated without warning. The people I believed would remain had slowly faded away. My bank balance read $17. The phone wouldn't stop vibrating with numbers. I no longer had the courage to answer. In that moment, invisibility wrapped itself around me like a second skin. I remember the heaviness of that evening. It was a Tuesday. Rain traced lines down the glass. Through the thin walls, I could hear my neighbors laughing at a sitcom, their joy echoing, while my own world felt as though it was collapsing inward. I was seated on the floor because most of my furniture had already been taken back. Through shaking breaths and tears, I whispered, God, if you exist, if you notice me, if any of this matters, I need you to appear. I need a signal. I need to know I'm not alone. And then it came, not as sound, but deeper than sound, clearer than anything my ears had ever translated. I see you. I've never stopped seeing you. Every tear that fell, I gathered. Every restless night I was present. Every moment you felt deserted, I was nearer than your own breathing. What you believe is the end is actually the doorway. Your wounds are about to become my mark upon your life. The darkness surrounding you is not a burial place. It is a chamber of transformation. Chosen one, you are on the verge of emerging changed, carrying wings you do not yet recognize. Anointed soul, this is precisely where you stand. You may feel erased, bypassed, as though your battles are unseen by everyone, even by heaven itself. But hear this truth, because it alters everything. Nothing has escaped divine attention. Every tear has been preserved. Every sleepless night has been recorded. Every prayer that seemed to dissolve into the ceiling. Every instant you nearly surrendered, but somehow endured one more sunrise. Why? Because, chosen one, you have not merely been enduring. You have been reshaped into living confirmation. While you believed you were simply surviving another stretch of time, the unseen was authoring a story that will reignite belief in those who abandoned faith long ago. While you thought you were barely holding on, Divine fingerprints were being pressed into every chapter of your journey. Let this settle within you. There are individuals around you who take pride in logic. They trust only what can be quantified, controlled, and explained. Their understanding of life is constructed on calculation and reason. Yet when they encounter you, their equations fail. Your resilience after experiences that should have erased you makes no sense to them. Your calm in the center of upheaval contradicts their models. Your capacity to forgive, to hope, to continue believing when belief appears irrational unsettles them. It fractures the neat explanations they rely on to make sense of existence. And that disruption is intentional. What is unfolding through you is not natural. It exceeds human limitation. And that very impossibility is what makes you undeniable proof. You have become a living contradiction to everything the world claims about how much pain a person can withstand, how far grace can descend, how thoroughly a life can be transformed. This is why the weight has felt crushing at times. You were not only bearing your own conflicts, Anointed One, you were carrying evidence that will dismantle the claims of those who insist heaven is silent. You were nurturing hope that will resurrect belief in hearts that abandoned the idea of miracles. You were not chosen because you displayed your journey publicly. You were not selected because you possessed a flawless story to present under bright lights. You were marked because of who you remained when no one was watching, when the room was empty, when recognition never came, when faithfulness offered no immediate reward. You still whispered gratitude through tears. And that is why you were set apart. This calling exists because even in the moments when your belief felt as delicate as a single spark caught in violent wind, you guarded it. You sheltered it carefully, allowing it to glow one day at a time, one quiet prayer at a time, one deliberate choice to trust at a time. Do you grasp how uncommon that truly is? In a world addicted to speed and instant gratification, you refused to bypass the unfolding. You had the option. There were crossroads where the simpler route whispered your name, times when bending your values would have delivered fast comfort, times when letting go of your convictions would have smoothed everything out effortlessly. Yet you didn't do it. In an era obsessed with appearances and performance, you chose to be real even when being real meant confessing that you were barely holding together. In a generation chasing approval through numbers, reactions, and applause, you kept pursuing truth, even when truth led you through lonely places filled with misinterpretation and silence. A soul shaped like that becomes unmistakable evidence of something higher. That level of integrity cannot be fabricated or imitated. And this is why people feel strangely magnetized toward you while also feeling unsettled in your presence. They struggle to explain it. But something about you quietly challenges the narratives they rely on to feel safe. You exist as a living question to everything they have settled on as reality. Just last month, I was sitting across from an old colleague over coffee. She is sharp, accomplished, the type of person who appears to have life completely mapped out. In the middle of our conversation, she paused, looked at me and said, "I need to ask you something. I've been observing your life from afar. I watched what you endured. I saw situations that would have broken most people. And yet, here you are. There's this calm, this light around you. It doesn't align with logic. What do you understand that I don't?" In that instant, chosen one, it became clear to me that my life itself had become the message she needed. Not my explanations, not my words, but my becoming. What emerged after the fire spoke louder than anything I could have said. And the same unfolding is about to take place through you. You are about to be positioned in front of those who are desperate to witness proof that the divine is real. Hear this carefully because it carries weight. Your selection was intentional. It was never chance. It was never luck. Heaven does not function on randomness or accident. You were marked long before your arrival here. Before your first inhale, before your name was ever spoken aloud, before you tasted joy or sorrow, success or defeat, a decision was made. God looked upon you and declared, "This one will carry my evidence into a generation," starving to see me. You were chosen not because of flawlessness, not because of skill, credentials, connections, or talent. Heaven recognized your heart. It saw a spirit willing to cling to faith, even when faith appeared unreasonable. It saw someone who would not trade truth for convenience. It saw a soul that would continue, reaching upward even while walking through the deepest shadows. Now let this reframe your entire history. Nothing you endured was wasted. Not a single disappointment, not one betrayal, not any loss. Not even the moments when surrender felt inevitable. None of it was empty or purposeless. It was precise preparation. You were not stumbling through meaningless suffering. You were being shaped within a sacred fire. The intensity you felt was never designed to erase you. It was refining you, strengthening you, clearing space for what lies ahead. Consider gold. Before it carries worth, it must face extreme heat. The flame does not annihilate it. The flame removes everything that is not truly gold. It strips away impurities until what remains is radiant and strong. This is what has been happening within you. Each trial removed what was unnecessary. Each challenge burned away what could not come forward with you. And what is emerging now, anointed one, is something rare and luminous. You are becoming a life of such spiritual worth that heaven itself will point to you as evidence of transformation. When others look at you, they will not only see someone who endured hardship, they will recognize divine imprints. They will perceive signs that heaven still intervenes. They will witness that change is not a concept, but a living reality. Your life has become a sacred canvas, and every painful stroke contributed to the formation of a masterpiece. It never felt beautiful while you were inside it. When you were awake in the early hours, negotiating with God for a single breakthrough, it felt like disorder. When you sat in hospital waiting rooms, opened rejection letters, packed up pieces of your life after yet another letdown, it looked like ruin. But now clarity is forming. The strokes that seemed random, the mixture of joy and sorrow, triumph and loss, are aligning into something astonishing. And when people step back to view your journey, they will not simply see you. They will recognize the work of God. They will witness what unfolds when heaven refuses to abandon those it has chosen. Hear this carefully because it carries weight. Your selection was intentional. It was never chance. It was never luck. Heaven does not function on randomness or accident. You were marked long before your arrival here. Before your first inhale, before your name was ever spoken aloud, before you tasted joy or sorrow, success or defeat, a decision was made. God looked upon you and declared, "This one will carry my evidence into a generation," starving to see me. You were chosen not because of flawlessness, not because of skill, credentials, connections, or talent. Heaven recognized your heart. It saw a spirit willing to cling to faith, even when faith appeared unreasonable. It saw someone who would not trade truth for convenience. It saw a soul that would continue, reaching upward even while walking through the deepest shadows. Now let this reframe your entire history. Nothing you endured was wasted. Not a single disappointment, not one betrayal, not any loss. Not even the moments when surrender felt inevitable. None of it was empty or purposeless. It was precise preparation. You were not stumbling through meaningless suffering. You were being shaped within a sacred fire. The intensity you felt was never designed to erase you. It was refining you, strengthening you, clearing space for what lies ahead. Consider gold. Before it carries worth, it must face extreme heat. The flame does not annihilate it. The flame removes everything that is not truly gold. It strips away impurities until what remains is radiant and strong. This is what has been happening within you. Each trial removed what was unnecessary. Each challenge burned away what could not come forward with you. And what is emerging now, anointed one, is something rare and luminous. You are becoming a life of such spiritual worth that heaven itself will point to you as evidence of transformation. When others look at you, they will not only see someone who endured hardship, they will recognize divine imprints. They will perceive signs that heaven still intervenes. They will witness that change is not a concept, but a living reality. Your life has become a sacred canvas, and every painful stroke contributed to the formation of a masterpiece. It never felt beautiful while you were inside it. When you were awake in the early hours, negotiating with God for a single breakthrough, it felt like disorder. When you sat in hospital waiting rooms, opened rejection letters, packed up pieces of your life after yet another letdown, it looked like ruin. But now clarity is forming. The strokes that seemed random, the mixture of joy and sorrow, triumph and loss, are aligning into something astonishing. And when people step back to view your journey, they will not simply see you. They will recognize the work of God. They will witness what unfolds when heaven refuses to abandon those it has chosen. Here is what may surprise you most. You likely feel ordinary. You wake, you move through your routine, you live your days like anyone else. You do not feel like living proof of anything divine. You notice your imperfections, your struggles, your wavering moments. And that is precisely why you are ideal for this calling. Because the greatest evidence is not flawlessness. It is change. It is not about never stumbling. It is about rising again. The world is filled with people presenting polished images of perfection. Platforms overflow with curated lives designed to impress. But what is scarce is genuine transformation, real growth that occurs in hidden places where only God bears witness. That is what you carry. Chosen one, this is the evidence heaven has been patiently cultivating within you. And now the cycle is turning. What has been concealed is about to surface. What was formed in secrecy is about to be revealed openly, not to elevate you, but to demonstrate that God still moves, still restores, still heals, still reshapes lives. Listen carefully. The coming chapter of your life will be marked by speed. Stagnant areas will suddenly shift. Bonds that appeared irreparable will mend unexpectedly. Doors that seemed sealed forever will open without warning. Provision that was delayed will begin to flow. This movement will not be gradual. It will not follow normal progression. This is accelerated motion, divine intervention that overrides natural timelines. What should have taken years will unfold in months. What should have required seasons will manifest in weeks. When heaven declares the moment has arrived, earthly schedules lose authority. I have witnessed this acceleration firsthand, and it is astonishing. Within months of my own breakthrough, opportunities arrived that had been absent for years. Long-broken relationships were restored. Financial burdens that once seemed permanent were erased. That was not normal progression. That was supernatural momentum. And chosen one, that same momentum is approaching you now. Doors closed for ages will open so quickly, it will leave you breathless. People who distance themselves will return with reconciliation. Financial streams will widen through unexpected channels. Health challenges labeled long-term will reverse course. Family fractures will experience healing. Paths that appeared blocked will suddenly clear beyond what you dared to envision. This is not reward for perfection. It is not payment for effort. It is alignment with heaven's timing. The season of quiet preparation is concluding. The season of visible demonstration is beginning. And chosen one, with this new season comes new. This calling carries weight. As your life begins to stand as clearer evidence, people will react in many different ways. Some will celebrate what unfolds for you and rejoice with sincere joy. Others will feel stirred, and your lived story will awaken courage in them to believe again for their own. These responses will strengthen your sense of meaning and remind you why you persevered through what you did. Yet there will also be those who feel unsettled by your rising. Some will question the reality of what you endured. Others will attempt to reduce your transformation, explaining it away as coincidence, timing, or fortune. A few may even feel threatened by what your life reveals, because it quietly confronts their own decisions and convictions. In those moments, hold this truth close. You were never meant to be proof for everyone. You are evidence for hearts that are ready to recognize it. Do not drain your spirit trying to justify yourself to those who are not prepared to see. Your role is not to persuade doubters. Your role is to live honestly as who you have become and allow your life to communicate on its own. I learned this through exhaustion when my own breakthrough arrived. I felt an intense need to explain myself, to make everyone understand, to make everyone believe. I depleted myself attempting to convince people whose hearts were closed. Then the message came, unmistakable and calm. Stop defending what I'm doing within you. Simply live it. Those meant to see will see. Those prepared to receive will respond. That understanding shifted everything. I stopped striving. I stopped over-clarifying. I began living as the person God had reshaped. That is when the true influence started. People I could never reach with arguments began seeing truth reflected in my life, and it carried more power than any explanation ever could. Chosen one, your evidence will not look like anyone else's. Some of you will testify through healing that science cannot fully explain. Your body itself declaring God's reality. Others will testify through provision and multiplication that contradict economic reasoning. Your abundance revealing heaven's supply. Some will testify through relationships restored against all odds. Reconciliation speaking of redemptive love. Yet every one of you, regardless of the form it takes, will confirm one unchanging truth. God is still intimately present in human lives. He still notices. He still cares. He still steps in. He still reshapes destinies. And your life stands as living evidence. The trembling you may feel right now is not unfamiliar to heaven. Moses felt it when he was called to lead. Esther felt it when she realized her position carried purpose. Every soul chosen to become proof has felt this weight. It is human. It is natural. But that fear is about to be overtaken by something far greater. The wonder of witnessing God move through a life fully surrendered. You are about to observe answers from the closest seat imaginable. Long-held prayers will suddenly find resolution. People you thought were gone will unexpectedly reconnect. Doors you stopped expecting to open will appear before you. And with every unfolding moment, clarity will deepen that this was never about elevating you. 3 months from now, you will scarcely recognize yourself. The acceleration will not only alter circumstances, it will reshape who you are. You will carry authority you never chased. You will speak with insight you never studied for. You will move with a confidence born from knowing heaven supports every step. When people ask what changed, you may struggle to articulate it, because some transformations are too sacred for language. Remember this, chosen one. Being evidence does not require flawlessness. You will still encounter resistance. You will still walk through valleys. But now, each valley becomes a platform for faithfulness, and each battle becomes tomorrow's testimony. Your humanity does not disqualify you. It magnifies the wonder of what God has done within you. Your transformation is the answer to someone else's prayer. Somewhere right now, someone is asking if God still moves, if He still speaks, if change is truly possible. Heaven is arranging a moment where they will encounter you. Your story will give them permission to keep believing. Your change will give them courage to hope again. You are not optional in heaven's design for this generation. You are essential. Every life you will touch, every heart you will awaken, every influence you will carry has been woven intentionally. Nothing about it is random. It was all planned long before now. You were formed for this precise moment. So move forward with courage. Anointed one, enter spaces you never expected to access. Speak truths you feel unqualified to voice. Dream visions that feel far beyond reach. Chase callings that appear impossible. You are no longer operating by your own strength. You move as living evidence of a God who still restores, still delivers, still renews all things. Whether you feel prepared or not, worthy or not, capable or not, this moment belongs to you. Heaven's attention is fixed. Earth is waiting. Angels are rejoicing. And you are stepping into your role as undeniable evidence that God is exactly who He declares Himself to. Be faithful, powerful, present, alive, working, all things together for good, crafting beauty from ashes, turning sorrow into celebration, bringing life out of what once looked dead, and using ordinary people to display extraordinary power. Your season as living proof has begun. The world will not remain unchanged because you said yes, because you surrendered, because you trusted even without clarity, because you continued when quitting felt easier. Every step mattered, every tear counted, Every delay prepared you for this moment. Place your hand over your heart right now and feel the rhythm beneath your palm. That is more than biology. That is purpose. That is destiny. That is heaven's rhythm echoing through you, reminding you that you were chosen for now. Every beat declares that your life carries meaning, that your story holds weight, that your existence matters in the unseen realm. As we close, I release this blessing over you. May doors once sealed swing open at your arrival. May provision move toward you like rivers finding their sea. May divine connections locate you at exactly the right time. May your testimony awaken hearts across nations. May you never again question your worth, your visibility, or your belovedness in the eyes of the one who shaped galaxies and still knows you intimately. May you walk boldly in authority, stand firmly in identity, and live fully as the proof you were created to be. As you step into this next chapter, stay connected with this chosen community. If these words stirred your spirit, remain close so you do not miss what heaven continues to release. Let this message be marked as found at the right time. Share what stirred your heart today, because your testimony may be the confirmation someone else needs. We are not spectators here. We are a family of transformed lives, becoming evidence together. Tomorrow when you wake, remember this. No matter how you feel, no matter what surrounds you, heaven is attentive. Angels are at work. Your breakthrough is gaining speed. Walk in authority. Stand in anointing. Live as the proof you were always meant to be. Until we meet again, remember this. Chosen one. God is about to use your life as unmistakable evidence that He is real. The seal is placed. The word is released. Your miracle is in motion. Welcome to Chosen by Heaven, where your rising matters and your story reshapes the world.